Welcome the rare gems. You don't seek approval. You don't beg for outgrown the conversation, the dynamic, the person. They even deserve your words? If the answer is no, acknowledging someone's presence feels like a waste of energy. That's when a Sigma female goes silent. Not out of weakness, not as a game, but as the final decision. If you've reached that stage, understand this. It's already too late. You're not like everyone else. You've always known that. You don't seek approval. You don't beg for understanding. And you certainly don't explain yourself to people who don't deserve it. Your silence isn't avoidance. It's clarity. It's the moment you realize your energy is better spent elsewhere. Most people assume silence is passive. They think you're waiting, hurting, or hoping for a reaction. They couldn't be more wrong. Your silence is an act of power, a shift in focus from them to yourself. It means you've outgrown the conversation, the dynamic, the person, and by the time they notice, you've already moved on. If you've ever doubted yourself for walking away quietly, don't. You are a Sigma female, self-sufficient, intuitive, and unshaken by those who can't match your depth. You don't owe explanations. You don't owe closure. Your silence is your answer. So if you've ever wondered whether you should speak or stay silent, ask yourself this: do they even deserve your words? If the answer is no, then you already know what to do. Watch this video and let's get into why your silence is your greatest strength. Let's get started. The rare gems. Number 1. Silence isn't an invitation. No, her silence is the sound of the door. She goes silent. Not because she's waiting for you to write. The real power of a Sigma female is that she's never waiting for an apology or hoping someone will chase after her. They assume silence is just a pause, a temporary break before she speaks again. But that's their first mistake. A Sigma female's silence isn't an invitation to fix things. It's not a test. It's not her sulking in a corner, hoping someone reads her mind. No, her silence is the sound of the door closing. And not just closing, but locking, bolting, and sealing itself shut forever. By the time she stops talking, she has already mentally, emotionally, and even spiritually moved on. See, when a Sigma female still cares, she will communicate. She will tell you exactly what's wrong. She will give you a chance to understand. But the moment she realizes you don't respect her time, her energy, or her presence, she goes silent. Not because she's waiting for you to realize your mistake, but because she no longer sees a reason to engage. Most people don't understand what's happening until it's too late. They take her silence lightly, thinking they have time to fix things. But what they don't realize is that while they're standing there, trying to figure her out, she's already gone. She's mentally rewritten the future without them in it. She's accepted that some people don't deserve an explanation, a fight, or even a goodbye. The real power of a Sigma female is that she never leaves with noise. She doesn't need to slam doors or make a scene. She just vanishes. And when someone finally looks around and notices she's not there anymore, physically, emotionally, or mentally, they're left wondering when exactly they lost her. The truth? They lost her the moment they thought her silence meant she was still listening. Number 2. You've been studied, analyzed. Eyes are going undetected. Their manipulation unearth her energy. There's no trial, no appeal, beyond what's absolutely necessary. That she doesn't explode. She doesn't argue, beg for explanations, or demand answers. Instead, she watches. She listens. She studies every move you make, every word you say or don't say. See, most people assume they're getting away with things because she doesn't react right away. They think their lies are going undetected, their manipulation unnoticed. What they don't realize is that she's collecting data. She's replaying conversations in her head, analyzing inconsistencies, and connecting dots they didn't even know existed. She's not just looking at what happened. She's looking at the pattern of who they really are. By the time she goes silent, she's already reached her conclusion. And here's the brutal truth. If a Sigma female has stopped engaging, she's already decided you're not worth her energy. There's no trial, no appeal, no second chance to rewrite the past. She has weighed the evidence, and you've been dismissed. And the scariest part? You won't even know when the decision was made. One day you're talking to her like everything's fine. The next, you realize she's just gone. Not in a dramatic way, not with some big argument, just an absence. A sudden, undeniable shift where she no longer invests in you, no longer cares to respond, no longer even acknowledges your presence beyond what's absolutely necessary. That's what sets her apart. Other people may give warnings, issue ultimatums, or beg for someone to change. Not her. She doesn't waste time trying to fix what's already broken. So if a Sigma female has gone silent on you, don't ask what you can do to fix it. That time has passed. Instead, number 3, the conversation you want. She's not waiting to be convinced that she misunderstood. No anger, no sadness, no interest in here going to happen, because she already decided, even a chance to explain. They think they'll get a moment to justify their actions, to twist the truth, to make excuses. But with a Sigma female, that moment never comes. She's not interested in debating. She's not looking for an apology she doesn't believe. She's not waiting to be convinced that she misunderstood something. By the time you realize something is wrong, she's already decided you're not worth another discussion. This is where most people panic. They expect pushback. They're used to people demanding closure, asking why, wanting to talk it out. They expect a chance to plead their case, but instead they're met with something far worse: silence. And that silence is deadly, because it means she has nothing left to say to you. No anger, no sadness, no interest in hearing your side of the story. To her, your words are just noise now, empty, meaningless, irrelevant. That's the power of a Sigma female. She doesn't give you the luxury of a dramatic exit. She doesn't give you a stage to perform your excuses. She simply removes herself. Quietly, permanently. You'll sit there, waiting for the moment she confronts you, waiting for the fight that never comes. But that fight? It was never going to happen, because she already decided, long before you even realized, that you weren't worth the breath it would take to argue. Number 4, she's already rewritten the business. A Sigma female doesn't do that. People who have proven they don't deserve a seat at her table. To her, the book is already closed. And that's why maybe, just maybe, there's a way back in. But when a Sigma female goes silent, there is no maybe. The story has already been rewritten, and you're no longer in it. See, most people hold on. They replay old memories, cling to what was, and convince themselves there's unfinished business. A Sigma female doesn't do that. She doesn't dwell on what could have been, because in her mind, the rewrite is already complete. And once she turns the page, she never looks back. By the time you realize something has changed, she has already imagined a future where you don't exist. She's not heartbroken, she's not conflicted, and she's not waiting to see if you'll change. She has mentally erased you, not out of anger, but out of efficiency. She doesn't waste energy holding on to people who have proven they don't deserve a seat at her table. And here's the brutal truth: she won't miss you, not in the way you expect, because she doesn't cling to ghosts. She doesn't sit there reminiscing, hoping you'll return. She moves forward with the kind of certainty that's terrifying to those left behind. You might try to reach out, thinking there's still something left to save, but you'll feel the shift. The warmth is gone. The connection is severed. She doesn't need closure because to her, the book is already closed. And that's what makes her different. Others leave doors open, waiting for a return. A Sigma female? She rebuilds her life like you were never there, and by the time you notice, she's already written the best chapters without you. At number 5, your apology is nothing more than analyzed your actions and weighed the cost of keeping you in her life, how she feels. But what you'll get instead is already written in stone. So go ahead of the story. They can undo the damage. But with a Sigma female, that apology is nothing more than background noise, just meaningless sound in a world she's already moved on from. See, by the time you realize she's gone, she's already processed everything. She's replayed the conversations, analyzed your actions, and weighed the cost of keeping you in her life. And the verdict: you weren't worth the energy it takes to stay. This is what people don't understand about a Sigma female. She doesn't wait around hoping for closure. She is her own closure. She doesn't need an apology to move on. She moves on the moment she decides you're no longer aligned with her. Your words won't reach her because she's already beyond the point of caring. You might think your apology will spark a conversation, that she'll finally open up and tell you how she feels. But what you'll get instead is silence, a calm, unwavering silence that tells you everything you need to know. it doesn't matter anymore. You see, a Sigma female doesn't do second chances when she's reached her limit. She doesn't entertain recycled promises or well-crafted excuses. She doesn't need to hear why you did what you did because, in her mind, the explanation is irrelevant. The only thing that matters is what you did, and that's already written in stone. So go ahead and apologize if it makes you feel better. But understand this, you're not fixing anything. You're not undoing the conclusions she reached in silence. You're simply speaking into an empty space where she once cared, and where now there's nothing left but echoes of what used to be. Number 6, she's not waiting. She's already got confirmation. She has already recalibrated her exits, long speeches, or fiery goodbyes. She's already stepped into a future where you don't exchange. But that's their mistake. She's not waiting. She's already gone. See, when a Sigma female cares, she engages. She'll speak her mind, try to fix things, and give you the opportunity to meet her halfway. But once she goes silent, that's not hesitation. It's confirmation. She has already recalibrated her life without you in it. The dangerous part? Most people don't realize what's happening until it's too late. They assume there's still time, that she'll come back around, that maybe she just needs space. But a Sigma female doesn't do temporary detachment. When she withdraws, it's not to gain clarity. It's because she already has it. And here's the truth that stings. She doesn't need to announce her departure. She doesn't need dramatic exits, long speeches, or fiery goodbyes. She simply removes herself, mentally, emotionally, and sometimes even physically. No warnings, no second chances, just silence that speaks louder than words ever could. By the time you realize she's gone, she's already rebuilt. She's realigned her world, shifted her focus, and found new priorities that don't include you. And the hardest pill to swallow? She did it without hesitation. So while you're sitting there thinking she's in some emotional limbo, she's already stepped into a future where you don't exist. And when you finally reach out, hoping to rekindle something, you'll find yourself talking to someone who has nothing left to say. Because a Sigma female's silence isn't a pause, it's a conclusion. And once she's gone, she's not looking back. Number 7, you weren't worth the energy of a good vacant enough to warrant the effort. See, a Sigma fin, you weren't a major chapter in her silence isn't just the absence of words. It's proof. With a Sigma female, if she's gone silent, you didn't even earn a goodbye. She doesn't waste energy on closure where it isn't deserved. Goodbyes are for people who mattered, for connections that held real weight. If she didn't bother with one, that should tell you everything. You weren't significant enough to warrant the effort. See, a Sigma female doesn't do unnecessary drama. She doesn't entertain fake apologies, drawn-out explanations, or pointless arguments. If she's done, she's done. And when she reaches that point, a goodbye isn't a courtesy. It's an unnecessary expenditure of time and energy. And that's what unsettles people the most. Not the silence itself, but what it means. Because when someone doesn't even think you're worth a parting word, that's when reality sets in. You weren't a major chapter in her story. You were a footnote, a passing detail, something easily erased. You might sit there waiting, expecting closure that will never come. But she's already moved forward, and in her world, your role is already over. There's no resentment, no lingering emotion, just nothing. And that nothingness, it's far more brutal than any heated argument or cold farewell. Because a Sigma female's silence isn't just the absence of words. It's proof that to her you no longer exist. At number 8, she doesn't play the chase me get her attention. It's final. She's not sitting there or not. If she left, it's because she saw no word. So if she's gone quiet, or desperate attempts to fix things, it's a manipulation tactic, a way to control emotions and keep people hooked. But a Sigma female, she doesn't play that game. When she goes silent, it's not a test. It's not a ploy to make you miss her or a trick to get you to beg for her attention. It's final. She's not sitting there watching her phone hoping you'll reach out. She's not waiting to see if you'll fight for her. She's already detached. And that's what makes her silence different. It's real. Most people aren't used to this level of certainty. They're conditioned to believe silence means, come after me. But with a Sigma female, silence means, I'm already gone. It's not a strategy, it's a conclusion. And here's the brutal truth. She doesn't care if you follow or not. If she left, it's because she saw no reason to stay. If you try to chase her, all you're doing is proving that you didn't understand her in the first place. Because she's not looking for someone to chase her. She's looking for people who never made her want to leave in the first place. This is what confuses people the most. They expect resistance. They expect hesitation. They expect some kind of emotional tug-of-war, but with her there's none. Just an unshaken, unbothered silence that says everything without a single word. So, if she's gone quiet, don't fool yourself into thinking it's a game. It's not. It's the end. And the worst part, you'll realize too late that she never needed you to follow. She needed you to be the reason she never had to walk away. Number 9. You will never get back into her inner normal. But with a Sigma female, there is no once she sees a side of you that proves you're not who she no matter how hard you try, no matter what you say, you felt lucky. It meant you were someone she genuinely valued. But if you lost that trust, if you gave her a reason to question your place in her world, that door is closed permanently. Most people assume they can talk their way back in, that time will soften the edges, that things will eventually go back to normal. But with a Sigma female, there is no going back. Even if she's polite, even if she's civil, even if she acknowledges your presence with a nod and a half smile, understand this. You are now on the outside looking in. She doesn't do second chances in the way most people expect. Forgiveness? Maybe. Indifference? Definitely. But reinstating you to the level of trust you once had? Never. She moves differently. She learns quickly. And once she sees a side of you that proves you're not who she thought you were, she never forgets. You won't even realize how much you've lost at first. She won't announce it. There's no grand speech, no dramatic farewell. She'll just stop confiding in you, stop sharing her real thoughts, stop letting you into the spaces where her true self exists. The shift will be subtle, but absolute. You might still have access to her surface, but the depth, that's gone. And no matter how hard you try, no matter what you say, you will never hold the same place in her life again. Because for a Sigma female, trust isn't just about the past, it's about the future. And once she sees you as a risk, she will never unsee it. At number 10, she won't hate you. You simply means lingering emotions, anger, heartbreak, maybe. Because for a Sigma female, true power isn't in punishing. That's the one thing people can never handle, realizing that after way, she doesn't slam the door in rage or sit around fuming, plotting ways to get back at you. No, she does something far more unsettling. She erases you, completely. You don't get to be the villain in her story because in her mind the story has already moved on without you in it. Most people assume silence means lingering emotions, anger, heartbreak, maybe even a desire for closure. But with her, silence means you've been mentally deleted. You no longer exist in her world. She won't stalk your social media. She won't ask about you. She won't secretly hope you reach out. She won't even waste a passing thought on what you're doing. And that's what unsettles people the most. They expect a reaction. They expect to matter, even in a negative way. But she won't give them that satisfaction. Because for a Sigma female, true power isn't in punishing someone. It's in removing them from her reality entirely. You see, holding grudges means holding on. And she doesn't hold on to what no longer serves her. She doesn't let dead weight take up space in her mind. She's too focused on what's ahead to be bothered by what's behind. So if she's silent, don't mistake it for weakness, or even kindness. It's something far more cutting. It's indifference, and that's the one thing people can never handle, realizing that after everything, they weren't even worth remembering. Number 11. Her actions will be louder than any show up when you needed her. That's over. And it won't then, it's already too late. Because here's that are undeniable. And when a Sigma female goes silent, her actions speak volumes. You won't get a long speech, an emotional breakdown, or a dramatic exit. Instead, you'll notice the quiet ways she's rewriting her world, without you in it. The calls that used to come, gone. The thoughtful gestures, stopped. The way she used to check in, support you, or show up when you needed her, that's over. And it won't be with bitterness or spite, it will be with calm certainty. See, when a Sigma female decides she's done, she doesn't need to announce it. She simply moves differently. She redirects her energy, restructures her priorities, and reshapes her life without hesitation. If she once made space for you in her world, that space is now occupied by something more deserving of her time. People often scramble to fix things once they notice the shift, but by then it's already too late. Because here's the brutal truth. If you're searching for meaning in her silence, it's written in what she no longer does for you. The absence of effort is the message. The loss of her presence is the answer. She doesn't need to argue. She doesn't need to explain. She lets her absence do the talking. And that silence? It's louder than any word she could have said. In conclusion, silence isn't empty, emotionally, and sometimes even physically. Not defeat. It's a declaration that you refixed video. Bye for now and God bless. And if you're only realizing it now, you were never paying attention to begin with. She doesn't make loud exits. She doesn't fight for people who don't value her. She doesn't waste her energy on lost causes. If she's quiet, it means she's already walked away, mentally, emotionally, and sometimes even physically. By the time you feel the weight of her absence, she's already rebuilt her world without you in it. And here's what you need to understand. She leaves without bitterness. She doesn't hold grudges because she doesn't carry dead weight. She moves forward with clarity, knowing that cutting ties isn't a loss, it's liberation. If you're a Sigma female, let this be your reminder. Your silence is powerful. It's not weakness. It's not defeat. It's a declaration that you refuse to waste your breath where it's not valued. You don't need to explain your worth. You don't need to justify your decisions. You just act. And that is why your silence speaks louder than any words ever could. For those who underestimated her, take this as wisdom. If a Sigma female gives you her presence, don't take it for granted, because once she's silent, she's already gone. Thanks for watching The Rare Gems. See you in our next video. Bye for now and God bless.